My name is Erick Caceres. I'm an entrepreneur, restaurant concept designer, and family man. Why do I want to open this restaurant? Well, the Oregano Bar and Bistro concept originated some 8 months ago while at the dinner table at my home with my family. I have a wife and a 15-year-old son and an 11-year-old girl. It is customary in our home to have one of the kids cook at least once a week, cook dinner. They do know their way around the kitchen. That particular night, it was my son's turn. He made a skirt steak sandwich with some interesting toppings. My wife paired it with a Latin-inspired salad. As I tasted the sandwich, the toppings really gave it the French flair that reminded us of a French bistro we frequent in the city. And it was soon after that when we began discussing, French food and the lack of existing French restaurants in certain areas of the city, especially the northern part of Manhattan, for example. And even discussing that we didn't know of a French Latin fusion restaurant ever being attempted in the city. The rest is history. Once we began discussing that, it was a no-brainer to kind of start developing a restaurant concept that paired or fused the French and Latin cuisine, and calling it oregano, which is a spice that is very well used and is used frequently in both cuisines, French and Latin, was a no-brainer. What do I hope it will become? Well, in each of the concepts I've had the pleasure to work on, I've tried to create a restaurant that can be understood not only by the immediate residents in the area, but also to consumers who customarily travel outside of their neighborhoods to try something innovative and new and interesting. I hope that it can also become a well-known brand and also maybe even franchise it someday and take it national if that's where it drives. Why tie Latin with French? Well, French and Latin cuisine have many similarities between them. A lot of the sauces, for example, use a lot of the same spices and seasonings, such as oregano. That, along with the fact that it's a fusion that really hasn't been attempted before. It's enough for me to have embarked on this challenge. What goes into building and renovating a restaurant? Well, where do I begin? I guess most people don't understand or really have no idea what it takes to open a restaurant. I guess the best way to describe it is to say, imagine embarking on an emotional and financial roller coaster that can last anywhere from 6 to 8 months with no real guarantees of succeeding in an industry that represents about 70% failure rate. I guess you have to be a bit crazy to get into this business, especially in these financial times, or you just have to be fearless. Take this project for example. We had an estimated budget of $400,000, being that there used to be a restaurant at this location some years ago. I had planned to utilize some of the installations that were existing in the space. Soon after we began construction, we began discovering that some of these things were not either up to code, like the electrical and the heating and cooling units. The piping, all the plumbing in the kitchen was rotting out. That had to be redone. So this, and along with the occasional contractor's hiccups, now we're about $150,000 to $200,000 over budget, and we're not done yet. In addition to that, if you don't open on time within the estimated build-out time, and according to the negotiations with the landlord, we're going to begin to incur fixed costs like rents and some other costs that can total up to $20,000 per month for each month we don't open. So there are many things, many hurdles to navigate before you even begin discussing a menu and kitchen consulting. Although if you don't do that well, you really have no chance of succeeding, either. So it's a combination of things, and it has to be a perfect marriage, and it has to work all in harmony. This is why I think it's something that is handled by professionals as far as the kitchen is concerned, and not by me. But hopefully your team, and I'm confident that your team can make it happen, since I have worked with Ricardo Cardona before, and I'm very confident in his skill in this area.